You guys ready? Awesome. So today we are going to work on the bow and the bow sounding awesome. In other words, beautiful tone. But it doesn't happen overnight. You have to practice for it. And we're going to start that tonight. I have done this with a lot of private students, but I don't think I've done it with any of you. Maybe Mark. Maybe. So I'm going to share my screen to this PDF. So this is from the school, Sevcik, the School of Bowing Technique, which means technique. It's the same word. And we're going to skip number 1. This is a cool exercise, but sorry, that messed up my share, didn't it? Okay, let me fix that. Okay, but us as early intermediate students, we don't need to do this first one because it doesn't say how to hold the bow, but it's you've been holding the bow for a long time and you've been string changing for a long time, so you're fine. Okay, so what you need for this exercise is your ear and your violin and your bow. What you don't need is a metronome because, you'll do it with me. And I'm not going to have any kind of backing track on this because even having a sound slice, I don't want it to distract you from the sound that you're making on your violin. So I'm not going to say it's a pretty one. I mean, it's not ugly, but it's not like something the neighbors are like, oh my God, you played Sevcik again, But it is for you developing that perfect, beautiful tone. Okay, so what I want to show you are these examples. It says examples on it. What we're going to do is we're going to, let's say you were to play this straight through. That's fine. That's understandable. But I want you to notice it says 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. It goes to 18. Okay, so over here, I'm going to back up a little bit. It says number 2, how to guide the bow. Play the 18 examples given below. We just saw that, right? These 18. In 6 different ways, as shown. Okay, so it says 1 with whole bow. So you see the dotted line goes from the frog. Now that's the hair here. So it's not like where you think the frog is. It's not your hand. It's not the balance point. It's not the middle of the bow where it's comfortable. It's the edge of the hair in the frog, the end of the frog, right near the middle part. That where there's no hair past that, you're going to go right next to that where there is hair. Okay, look, in fact, the diagram even shows it's like here. There's not even any hair there. So you're going to go from here, and then you're going to go all the way to the tip. And notice the hair is in the middle of the white thing. I don't know the name for that. The white piece. It's not at the end. It's not here. It's actually in the middle. You see the white tip? The hair is in the middle of that. So the hair goes all the way there. And you can play there, and you should play there, and you're going to play there in a second. So just make sure you have some rosin on your bow. You don't want to do this one without any rosin on. If you have a regular amount of rosin, that's fine. I noticed I was a little low earlier, so I'm actually going to give it a little bit. It's like just shooting yourself in the foot if you do this without rosin. I'm not saying to over rosin, but okay. Now, it says, okay, so W, see under the thing here, it's up there as well, but it's underneath. W means whole bow. So you're going to go on G, you're going to go all the way to the end of the hair, and you're going to do a whole note. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now it says don't lift, and then you rest for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you go up bow. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now you could do this and say, oh, I did it, yay. Or you could use this exercise to say, how is my bow grip and is my bow straight? I know it's a little bit hard on the G string, so when we get to the other strings, it'll be a little bit easier, but you should use the camera to your advantage. Make sure you can see yourself in zoom here. And like let's say we're on A, 2, use the camera to check yourself. I'm waiting the 4 rests. 2, 3, 4. Okay? And there's no tips or anything on here because just you doing it is you're going to work out a lot of the kinks on your own. Okay, so let's go. You guys follow me. I'm just going to show you. See this Roman numeral 1? So this is basically an example of the examples. I don't really know why he calls these examples on the bottom. I don't like that that's called that. But I'm just going to show you how we would start it. So here it says like G, G, repeat, G, G, D, D, repeat, D, D. And that's exactly what's happening here, except that there's a measure of rest in between. Okay? So follow me. Okay? Yeah, we don't need the hand. Just making it more interesting because it's not going to sound that interesting. Okay. And I'll put a metronome on just so that we're on the same page. I'm putting it at 66 beats per minute. Actually, that's probably... Okay. Oh, no, actually, I'm putting it at 60. Ready? Here we go. So follow me. 1, 2, 3, 4. So G, 1, 2, 3, 4. All the way to the tip. 2, 3, 4. Now up bow. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we repeat. 2, 3, 4. G, 1, 2, 3, 4. 3, 4, and up bow. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we go to D. 2, ready, go. D, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Repeat. 2, 3, 4. D, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Up. 2, 3, 4. Okay. Now, do you guys know what the next thing would be? It would be A. So we're at number 3. So now you know the bowing pattern. Okay, so we're going to keep going. So what we're doing again is whole note and then measure of whole rest. Whole note, measure of whole rest. By the way, Miriam, if you're listening, this is excellent, excellent for people of all levels. Okay, like I think this was what me and Mark did in our first lesson together. He had started a little bit on his own. And he said, my bow is shaky. What do I do? So I gave him this exercise. So we're going to go to A. So we're going to keep going. Okay? Just follow me. We'll do it together. 1, 2, number 3. Ready? Go. So A, 2, 3, 4. Check your straightness in the camera. 3, 4. You have to make your bridge or your violin parallel to the computer. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. Next is E, but before I do that, I want to show you how to see your bow. So you see, if my scroll, let's say, for example, my scroll is pointing at the camera, I don't know if my bow is straight. Let's say my bow is like 45 degrees away from the camera. I still don't know if my bow is straight. But if my violin is parallel, right, like here's my bow straight ahead, if it's parallel to the camera and the bridge is at its thinnest, so I'd have to turn my body. Then I'll see the bow, I'll see if the line, like the stick of the bow is parallel to the bridge. But if I'm like this, you can't tell. So that's what, I know it's like a little bit of a turn there, but it's still a good thing to do. Okay, so number 4, E, we're continuing. 1, 2, 3, 4. So E, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Good for using all your bow. Good. 1, 2, 3, 4. Not too heavy on the frog. That's something that comes up a lot. 1, 2, 3, 4. Feel free to use the last exercise we did in the last class. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. Now, I'm only doing the repeat once. And again, you don't really need the metronome for this, but we're just staying together. So really, the repeat should say, repeat this until it sounds good, and then go on to the next one. That's how you get the benefit out of this exercise, really. Because it is a little bit different of an execution on every string and every double stop, as you'll see. So let's keep going. Just get my spotlight here. Okay, so now we're on number 5. That's a double stop. So we do open A and open E at the same time. So there are other exercises where you're going to do shorter notes. So it's going to, I don't think this first one is actually the easiest one, but it is the first one and I don't mind starting with it. So we're going to do the whole bow. Your goal was to keep the bow on both strings, but if that's easy, then your goal is to make a nice sound. Okay, here we go. Number 5 with the rest in between. 1, 2, check your bow straightness. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. Repeat, and not too heavy on that frog, right? Lift it up at the frog. Repeat. 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now turn to A and D. Double stop. Ready? Go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Try to get that sound really even sounding. Make sure your scroll isn't down. Make sure it's up. Next is G and D. Ready? Go. Rest. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. Repeat. 2, 3, 4. Good. Go to 8. 2, 3. So it's G and D. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then rest. 2, 3, 4, and then D. 2, 3, 4. Still check your straight bow. 3. So G again. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. Okay, it continues in this way. I do want to do all of it. I don't know where the time goes, really, but it continues in this way. So what we were doing, again, just to recap, was number 2, how to guide the bow, with whole bow, and it's this one, number 1, with the rests. Once you're really good at that, and your bow sounds good, and you're comfortable doing it, you don't have to check it anymore because it all sounds and looks good. Then you would go on to number 2, which has no rests. Basically, number 2 is exactly as written. So let's try that, just so you get the feel for that. Let's go from the beginning, and we're going to do it basically as written. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1, G, 2, 3, 4. Up bow. Good, using that whole bow. Repeat. 1, 2, 1, 2. Next is D. 1, keep going. 2, 3, 4. Up bow. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Get a nice even sound. A. 1, 2, 3, 4. Make sure your bow is in the same lane. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Next is E. 2, 3, 4. Not too heavy on this one. So lifting it near the frog. I'm going to demonstrate what it feels like I'm doing. So if I were to keep going, that's what it feels like. When I get to the frog, I'm taking the weight off. So one way is I think of it like kind of an airplane taking off. There are other ways to think of it, but I think that one is the most descriptive. Actually, why don't you guys try that? Because I know that's pretty common. So let's do up bow E. And when you get near the frog, I want you to physically lift it off the string. Ready, go. 1, 2, and lift it off. You're above the string, good. Okay, now I want you to lift it off less. Ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. So just a little bit off the string. Now lift it, but don't take it off the string. Ready, go. Up bow. 1, 2, 3, 4. Nice, huh? Did you get rid of your crunch? If you had one? Good. That's what I like to visually show. Okay. Where does the time go? That is the fastest 15 minutes I've ever experienced. Maybe because I was clicking around when I first got here. I guess that's what it was. Okay, so your homework for the week is to practice on this specifically. Practice number 1 and number 2. Now, let me tell you something about this book. This book is awesome. I always know where it is in my pile of books because it's my only shiny one. It's like the only glossy one that I have. And this one is good for life. So last week when I gave you that bowing exercise with the fingers, I think Nancy had asked, when do I practice this? Like how often? And I was like, just, basically practice it for the week. It's just to get a sense of like how the weight is being distributed over the fingers. But this is something that you practice. Like this book is an encyclopedia Britannica in 60 pages. No kidding. Like everything is like this. You do an exercise and then you do it like 100 different ways. And then later he gives you a new bow and he's like, oh yeah, the one where you did 100 ways, now do it also like this. So there's just thousands and thousands of things to do in here. But this first one, you could do at the beginning of every practice session or performance session you ever do, and it would still benefit you. Because you're physically warming up, and you're physically warming up the bow hair and the rosin and the string, as well as your own muscles. So it's just a really good one to always do. For example, if you had to go perform and you didn't have time to practice the piece, you practice this, which is long tones. Just get it all warmed up. It's like if you're singing, you're not just going to go like eat an ice cream sundae and then go sing without doing anything. You gotta like clear it out, right? All right, so that's it for the warm up.